Our next storyteller today is Jaleesa Trapp. Jaleesa, thank you for joining us. You are a Tacoma native, but you are working on your PhD at the Media Lab at Massachusetts Institute of Technology, MIT. And your work at the Lifelong Kindergarten Research Group at the MIT Lab focuses on creative learning and learning technologies to eradicate race, class, and social barriers in education through a lens of intersectionality. You're a community organizer with the Tacoma Action Collective, and you teach at Tacoma's Idea High School, which focuses on industrial design, engineering, and the arts. How has your experience throughout your life helped you with your teaching work that you do now at Idea?
So my upbringing helped me with teaching a lot. If you knew me when I was in high school, then me being a teacher is kind of funny because I hated high school. So teaching, I knew that I wanted this experience to be different for the students that I was teaching because I hated it so much. I had a student who also hated school because in the classes he had to do the things that the teachers told him to do and not what he really wanted to do. He was really interested in computer science, which is what I taught, and so he would hang out in my class a lot and talk to me. I was also his mentor teacher, so at Idea, Sammy and Soda, each teacher also serves as a mentor. And one day this student sent me an email on a Sunday, really excited because he had an idea and he was going to email his English teacher and let him know that he wanted to write this paper about game design instead of cars. And I thought it was a good idea. It was something that he was really interested in. And I wrote him back and I said, that sounds great. Send the email, let me know how it goes. Next day, Monday, he comes into my class and he tells me that the teacher didn't write him back and he asked if he could run up and talk to him really quickly before class started. It's like, sure, go ahead. He came back with tears in his eyes and he blew up in front of my entire class and said that he hated school and that he didn't want to come back. And as a teacher, I had to keep the class going. I let him go sit upstairs, but I knew that I had to do something to help change his mind, to let him know that school is a place where he belonged. And I knew that I had to do that because so many people did that for me. So I actually moved to Tacoma when I was 6. My family is a military family. My dad was in the Army, and we moved from the military base. And being a military family, we didn't have a lot of family here in Tacoma, but I had a lot of extended family just because they became a part of our village. So I have a lot of aunties and uncles in Tacoma that may not be blood, but they are my aunties and uncles, and some of them are here today. And because of them, that's where I am where I am. That's how I got to be where I am today. So when I was in the 7th grade, my parents got a divorce, and my younger sister and I would be home by ourselves a lot after school. We do have an older brother and sister, but they're 8 years older than me, so when I was in the 4th grade, they graduated from high school and moved out. One day my aunt came and picked me and my sister up and took us to a place called the Clubhouse. I had no idea what this place was or why I was going, and I did not want to be there. But she knew that it was a place that I should be. And I stayed there, and I learned so much. And because of that place, I was able to go out and do a lot of great things. I had a great mentor there by the name of Miss LaVersa. She knew that I was capable of things that I didn't know I was capable of. And she didn't let me come up with any excuses. As a high school student, I was able to intern at Microsoft. That is not something that I ever thought I could do, but she knew that I could do it. So much so that she drove me to my interview in Redmond. And she sat in the car and waited hours until my interview was over. And by the time I got home, I had a voicemail saying that I had an offer from 2 different groups at Microsoft. That is not something that I ever thought I could do, but she saw that in me. And she brought so many other powerful mentors to the clubhouse. And it didn't stop after high school, so I went on to the University of Washington with the intention of majoring in computer science. When I got there, I felt very intimidated. I felt like I couldn't do a lot of the things that my classmates could do. And she reminded me that I could and that I had already done so much. And she made sure to connect me with other mentors at the university to make sure that I knew that that was a place where I could be, where I could thrive. After graduating, I knew that I didn't want to go into corporate. I had done that actually twice and interned at Microsoft twice as a high school student. And while I liked it, I knew that I didn't want to work in corporate. And so another mentor from high school, actually the only high school teacher that I ever felt connected to, who's here today, Fisher, she reached out to me and asked me if I'd want to do AmeriCorps. So I was actually among the first to graduate from the Human-Centered Design and Engineering program at the University of Washington. And if you look at the rest of my graduating class, they all went to go work at Microsoft, Amazon, Boeing, all these places. And when she asked me if I wanted to do AmeriCorps, I said yes. And so I went to Peace Community Center. And there, I still had mentors that helped me alongside her. When my grandmother passed away, people at Peace Community Center made sure that my younger sister and I were able to get there to her funeral. When I finished doing AmeriCorps, I went back to the clubhouse to be the program coordinator there. And I had a teacher reach out to me by the name of Tim Chalberg and ask if I wanted to be a high school teacher. And at first I was like, no, I don't like high school. I don't want to teach. I like being at the clubhouse where I could work with youth on things that they were interested in. And I didn't have to tell them step by step. My job was to encourage them and to motivate them and to help them see things that they wouldn't necessarily see like Miss LaVersa did for me. So when he asked, I was just like, I don't think so. But I ended up meeting with the administration anyways, and I decided to teach. And as a teacher, there was a lot of things that I had to learn. And I actually got to teach alongside my high school teacher, Fisher. And she really was a great mentor to me and helped me learn to teach in a way where I could still be myself and still bring the skills that I already had into this new field. So knowing all of that, I knew that this student who wrote this great paper and was told that he couldn't turn that in, that he actually had to do the assignment. I knew that I needed to step in and help him see things that he might not see on his own. So I started by letting him know that his anger was valid and that it's okay to be upset. And then I let him know that other people have helped me along the way, and if he was willing, I would help him. And he agreed. So I asked him if he had ever heard of Tesla. He hadn't, so we did a quick Google search. His eyes lit up. He had no idea that his interest in computer science would be related to cars, something that he just was not interested in. And so he went back and he rewrote the paper and he turned it in, and he got a really good grade. And I met with his mom afterwards, and she thanked me for doing that for her son. She explained that before, at kindergarten through 8th grade, he went to the school where she taught at, and she had a community there that would reach out to her when he wasn't doing well, that would say, hey, something doesn't seem right. And him going to this new school, she didn't have that. And I had become a part of that community for her and for her son, just like so many people had done for me. And so even after that, still now today, I have a community that makes sure that I can do things that I never thought was possible. Going to MIT was not something that I thought was feasible for a while. When I applied and I got in, I was like, yay, I got in, but I can't afford to move to Boston. I'm a school teacher. But my friend Janet was like, oh, you're going. And she set up a GoFundMe. And the first person to donate was a parent of one of the kids that I had at the clubhouse. And so many people believed in me when I didn't believe in myself. And so many of those people are here in this room today, and that means a lot. I had to be willing to accept help. I had to be willing to know that sometimes other people can see things that I can't. And without that community, there's no way that I would be at MIT today.
Thank you, Jaleesa. I'm just glad you were here today because I know you were flying all the time. So this is, and you're flying, she's flying out tonight. So go, you take a little nap there. That's okay.